Hello and welcome to the session where we are reviewing the membership management component, which is a service that the NanoStream Blue company uses to assist creators of systems in controlling the level of access by users to different elements of functionality. So of course, in any computing system, we have to grant the users of that system various levels of access. So there may be executive members who are allowed to perform several functions, who may require some executive oversight. You may have a kind of management level where the managers are granted access to information about specific subgroups of people, and you may have operations people or clients or other members of the system who are granted access to only a limited set of information, where information is restricted to the data that's generated by that specific user. So to control all these activities and to grant access to system users correctly, we use this membership manager. And as an administrator, you have access to some of these views. So an administrator can control the types of groups in the system. So you may create a group, and a group may contain several roles. So in the context of teaching a class, for example, we may create a class, and you see here there are various roles associated with each class. So we have the role of a teacher, we have an administrator, a tutor, and a student. So depending on the type of user, we allocate a particular role to that user or to that system member. So you can see here, as you select a group, it updates the roles that are available in that group. And we can also edit the groups here, so we can create new groups, we can read all the groups in the system, we can change the names of the groups, and there are two parts to this. There is a code and a label. So a label is a kind of common name, and a code might be something where you restrict the nature of the string or the text that comes in there, so that has more controlled behavior. But basically, you are free to create a group with any code and any label. You can also remove any groups as well. Then your roles here can also be edited. So again, you have a code and a label for each role. So typically you would use the code for a more descriptive reference to a role in your group. And we also have a context here, and that's possibly just another reference that might be useful when creating your system. And then we also have here a level. So you could control your user's behavior by prescribing the levels of the roles. So you could, for example, say that everybody above a certain level, let's say 80, is able to create new items on the system and so on. It's not as secure as working on a custom level code, but for simpler systems, working with the level might be good enough. Then moving on here to your members, you can edit and control your members' roles in the system. So if you click on any member name, it loads up all the groups that member belongs to. So this one, Martin here is registered in these two courses, for example. And then we want to read here the roles that Martin occupies in those classes. And you can see Martin is a student in both these. And it's possible for a system member to occupy multiple roles. So for example, the teacher here is Joe Knows. And you see this teacher is a student in physics and a teacher. Also, well, in all these courses, he's the teacher and he's also listed himself as a student. So you can occupy multiple roles in a given group, and you can edit that here. So number one, you can edit the user in the first place. So you can, as the system administrator, you can choose to remove group members, create new group members, and so on. And of course, edit their details. And then you can also edit the role by that member in the group. So, for example, if we wanted to change the role of James Miller in this class, we could do that here. So it would identify the roles available in this class, and the system administrator can change the role here. So you would just click on update. Or if you wanted to retain the existing roles, you would just click on create. So you can replace an existing role. You can just change the role here. Or if you wanted multiple roles to exist for a user, you would just click on create. And of course, you can also delete, and you can also read the other groups available and so on. So you can see then there's enough information to have the roles defined in each group, and you can control the users that are present in each of the groups, and you can edit their roles in that group. So with that, you can fully control the behavior of your users. So if you define the available behaviors in your system, then you can grant your system users access to those behaviors by granting them specific roles in there. So this is an important service which is kind of fundamental to all of the operations in our service suite in our systems.